The question is, what about the increase of anti-Semitism? Again, the headlines give a very bad impression. We hear of every incident anywhere in the world. Well, we never got that kind of news before. We don't hear about all the Jews who are protected, who are blessed, who are supported by non-Jews. The love of Israel that non-Jews have, it's awesome, but you never hear about it. Let me tell you a quick story.
I didn't hear that.
Let me tell you a story. I live in Minnesota, and Minnesota is a religious state. The big seminary that produces Lutheran ministers is in Minnesota, and another large seminary that produces Baptists is in Minnesota.
Yes.
I've been there 50 years. About 40 years ago, I was invited to speak to their graduating class, both seminaries, the Baptists and the Lutherans. So every year, I visit, speak to the graduating class. It's always very nice. They're polite, they're respectful, they really want to know what Judaism says. One year, I come to the event. There are about 200 graduating ministers in an auditorium, and the teacher, the minister, every year when I come, he assures me the students have been prepared. And I ask him, what do you mean? How did they prepare? He says, they know that they shouldn't try to convert you. I said, it's okay, don't worry about it. No, they've been prepared. Okay. This year that I showed up, I'm speaking, and I notice a woman sitting right in front. You know, it's like a slanted room, an auditorium, you know. Right in front, this woman is sitting there with that intense look. I spoke for about 40 minutes. She didn't blink once. And I thought, oh, she was not prepared. She must have missed that class. I thought, okay, this is going to be trouble. Sure enough, as soon as I finish speaking, her hand goes up. Now, she's sitting at the bottom, you know, so I'm looking over at the top rows, hoping somebody there will raise their hand, because I don't want to hear what she has to say. Nobody else raises their hand. And everybody in the room can see that her hand is up. I had no choice. So I call on her. She says, what do you think of Christians? My first thought was, this is how pogroms get started. So I try to lighten it up. I say, well, would you like my honest answer or my more polite answer? She doesn't smile. Your honest answer. I figured, okay, here goes. I don't know what the reaction is going to be, but I'm going to give him an honest answer. I said, the truth is, when I hear the word Christian, it scares me. Because you haven't always been good to Jews. And I'm waiting for the room to explode. Nothing. Somebody else raised their hand, went on to the next question, had a nice conversation. After it's all over, I'm standing in one side of the room speaking to some of the students. The teacher, the minister, comes over and says, "Have you got a minute? Kathy wants to say something to you." Takes me to the other side of the room. Kathy is that woman in the front. She's sitting at one of the desks and she is sobbing. And the minister says, "Tell him." She can't speak. She's hysterical. He says, "Come on, Kathy, tell him." And I'm thinking, tell me what? She crying because I insulted her? She calms down and she says, "I want to apologize for all the horrible things we have done in the name of God. Your answer was way too kind." So it turns out that that intense look was not that she wanted to convert me. She felt so ashamed to be sitting in front of a Jew, knowing what Christianity's history, right? So when she asked, "What do you think of Christians?" she was expecting a much more critical answer. She says, "Your answer was way too kind." The amazing thing is, the teacher knew that that's what she wanted to say, and he pushed her to say it. Which means the whole class agrees. Something is really changing. My grandfather, but not that long ago, my grandfather in Poland on Christmas night spent the night in a cellar with all the other Jews because it was too dangerous to stay in the house. This is not ancient history. And now, this grandfather's grandson is told by a Christian seminary, "We were terrible, I'm so ashamed." Something's changing.
Some of us have always thought that. I, being a Christian,
See, that's why
ashamed of what has happened to you.
That's why I wasn't so surprised that she said it as an individual, but that it's the class public opinion.
Yes,
This is something new.
not necessarily. There have been many of us all through our lives who have been very sorrowful as to what has happened to our brothers and sisters.
That is good news.
It is good news, but it always has been so. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And there are many of us that,
So what needs to change is that the other wheels
that's right.
have to make the news.
We have to get it going.
The unsqueaky wheel.